Welcome to the Muskegon Museum of Art's virtual tour entitled How to Look. This tour was prepared by Aaron Walling, a docent of the Muskegon Museum of Art. In this tour, we will examine 5 works of art in our permanent collection using the look, analyze, and interpret format. To help you become acquainted with this 3-step format we will be following, let's first examine Chain Gang Picking Cotton No. 2 by Winfred Rembrandt. The medium is die carved in tooled leather and was created in 2004. The first step is to look. Identifying what you can see. In this work, you can see men with striped clothing wearing shoulder bags. They seem to be standing in rows of a field. The second step is to analyze what you see. Using your knowledge of the elements of art and design, you might notice that the piece uses shapes such as circles and stripes to create repetitive designs that are interpreted by curved lines. The final step is to interpret what you see. Based on your own experiences and observations, describe what this work of art means to you. You might think the men in the stripes might be prisoners and the chain gang forced to pick cotton. If this was an in-person tour, you might be asked if you would pick or pass on this work of art. In other words, do you like it or not? And why do you feel that way? Think about this question of pick or pass with each of the following virtual tour selections. Now let's repeat the process of look, analyze, and interpret with other works of art in the MMA collection. The first selection for the virtual tour is one of our newest acquisitions, Minotaur Reading by British sculptor Beth Carter. The piece was created in 2019 and is sculpted of bronze and features a gilded lead book. Please take a moment to look, analyze, and interpret. When we look at the sculpture, we see a life-size Minotaur, a creature from Greek mythology that is part human and part bull. And here, he is holding a small gold book. When we analyze the form of the Minotaur, we see it as life-size and very textured with the hair of the bull's head and the 6-pack abs of the man's life-size body. To interpret the meaning of the sculpture, it is helpful to have some previous knowledge. In Greek mythology, the Minotaur is violent and eats human flesh. Carter's Minotaur seems softer, more vulnerable, as it represents her father and his love of reading, but also reflects the strength she sees in him as the head of the family. Our second selection is another bronze sculpture by a female artist. It is entitled Glory, and it was created by Elizabeth Catlett in 1981. Again, please take some time to look, analyze, and interpret. Looking at the sculpture, we see the head of a black woman in the style of an idolized classical Greek bust. The 3-dimensional form of the sculpture shows a curving female form with smooth skin and textured hair. Although difficult to see in the photograph, there are silhouettes of doves carved in the eyes to represent pupils. An interpretation of Glory might conclude that Catlett admired the subject as she is honored in bronze in a positive way. In fact, the subject of this sculpture is actually a real person, Glory Van Scott, a Chicago dancer, actress, author, educator, and civic activist born in 1947. The sculpture conveys strength, confidence, poise, and beauty. The next selection on our virtual tour is Tunnel of Love, Spooks by Reginald Marsh, completed in 1943. Please take a moment to look, analyze, and interpret this oil painting. Looking at the painting, we see a couple on an amusement ride with items designed to scare them. When we analyze the painting for elements of art, we see the use of the color red as it stands out as creating a focal point for the viewer and frames the couple who are the main characters of the painting. One might conclude that the woman is the stronger of the two main characters, and that the man is intimidated by her and the scary figures in the tunnel of love. In fact, Marsh was particularly drawn to strong female figures that overshadowed men in much of the artwork he did, with New York City amusement parks as the subject matter. Our final selection for the How to Look virtual tour is Youth by Charles Webster Hawthorne, completed in 1910. And by now, you know the drill, so I'd like for you to think about it for a minute. Look, analyze, and interpret. When we look at this painting, we see a young couple holding hands and seem to be strolling in the moonlight. An analysis shows the muted colors suggest twilight, with the red of the dress drawing your eye to the human figures. And the interpretation, the viewer can only speculate as to the purpose of this stroll. Is the pair merely pausing in contemplation of a journey, or do they await an unknown arrival? It is a mystery. Now, let's return to the pick, pass activity from the beginning of the tour. How did you respond to these selections on an emotional level? More picks or more passes? If you have the opportunity to discuss this with others who took the virtual tour, did you agree with their opinions? Good art creates good dialogue, and we hope that our art from Muskegon Museum of Art did that for you today. Thank you for joining us.